Let's talk about UCLA. They're catching some heat. They're not real happy with the Big Ten. You think? You think this is going to work out bad? You think? UCLA's kind of upset at the schedule. They just revealed they're going to travel nearly 23,000 miles for 6 road games. This is a shocker. They open at Hawaii. They play at LSU. I mean, you talk about going at the opposite ends of the spectrum. And then from there, they got all these trips back east as a member of the Big Ten Conference. 23,000 miles for 6 road trips. And they're kind of unhappy at the way the schedule was laid out, back-to-back roadies, or it's going to be really, really hard on UCLA. Poor Deshaun Foster. I mean, he's going in with a 6th-year quarterback. He's gone in having lost a bunch of players. Now, he does have a lot of guys returning on his offense, but we just don't know what UCLA football under a rookie head coach is going to be like. Week 2, after Neon Dion, Coach Prime's best friend here, lectured the media on their job and their responsibility. It was kind of a snotty press conference in Boulder. Well, the Boulder Daily Camera, I told you this was going to happen. The Boulder Daily Camera's columnist took exception to everything that Deion Sanders said about the media. Mm-hmm. You know, Deion would only take favorable questions. He refused to answer any questions from anybody representing CBS because he's been at war with CBS over investigative reports over his kids and their financial issues and junk off the field. And then he kind of insulted the Denver Post lead columnist, did the same thing for the Boulder Daily Camera. I said at the end of last Monday's podcast, you do not want to get into a feud with the media. Media's got a job to do. Let them do their job. You may disagree. That's okay. But I'll guarantee you, if you get into a feud, the media has the last bullet in the gun every time. Boulder Daily Camera's lead columnist, the circus is in town. The bombast no longer resonates. Everything with Deion Sanders is now conspiracy and grievances. This guy was an all-time trash talker. He can't back it up as a coach. Bright lights have now turned into bitterness, the end result of a 4-8 football season. Right there, front page, Boulder Daily Camera, about the hometown team and the coach. Oh, I knew this was going to happen, and yet he just went ahead and did it, and there was no rationale or reason for did it. Now, unless he goes 8-4 or 9-3 or whatever, he's not going to be able to yell his way, curse his way, scream his way out of the box and the troubles that he's created for himself. John Riley, Rand McNally, talk about UCLA's road trip. Nice decision they made. Go ahead, talk about Coach Prime.
Okay, let's go UCLA first. Now, I remember reading that their athletic department had a huge budget deficit.
$103 million.
Yeah, it's because they have a million different sports, and which is great. Now, they go to the Big 10 or the Big 18, whatever you want to call them. They're going to make a lot more money, but is it going to right-size their budget?
It's going to have to somewhere down road.
Mm-hmm.
But the negative is, as part of what USC and UCLA did, which led to the death of the Pac-12, this is just not about football or basketball. This is about all the sports. I mean, you're into Olympic rowing. Is your ass going to take an East Coast road trip to see UCLA face Maryland on Chesapeake Bay in rowing in the spring? Everybody who competes at UCLA is going to compete against other teams of the Big Ten. Does that make a lot of progress?
It's nuts. It doesn't make sense at all, and I think maybe for football it might, but everything else, it doesn't. So I'm just curious to see how this whole thing sorts out, because I know they have a new AD, they got the new head coach, and then what's going on with basketball is what's the guy's name? Mick Cronin. He's still there, right?
Oh yeah, he's still there, and obviously he knows how to recruit, and he recruits internationally. But they got to travel too.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, just
as far as Coach Prime goes, you're saying he's talking about conspiracy theories and bombast, and I'm like, wait a minute, are we talking sports or are we talking politics?
Both.
Yeah. I know. Again, I like Coach Prime because, now granted, he is edgy and he will piss people off, but I like his message about, having self-confidence and trying to groom these young men to be confident ball players on and off the field. There's a lot of very positive messaging, but I think they've just been needling him so much that, now I think it's finally gotten to the point where, as you said, the media has the last bullet and they're shooting it. So, we often wondered how long Coach Prime would last in Colorado because his shtick probably plays bigger in a bigger city. So is this just going to be a 2 or 3 year gig and he's going to go somewhere else?
I think it's a very, very valid question. At the end of the day, I'm just going to pass the baton on to people watching us on live stream. Anybody got an opinion on Coach Prime and how he's acted, what he's put on the field, what the future of Colorado football with him? Because dude did finish with 8 losses in the last 9 games, and they got their ass kicked and they got piled on because other people in the Pac-12 were really upset last year about what he did, quote, in the transfer portal to all the players.
I remember the Oregon game.
Oh, yes.
That was a ass whooping.
Yeah. Dan Lanning
Yeah.
kept his starters in that game.
Yeah, he did.
Fourth quarter. That was bad. So, hey, that's why we do this. Fans Forum. You got an opinion on Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, in over his head, headed for trouble, or do you side with what he says? Feel free to jump on board. You either side with me or you side with my co-host. Go ahead. We want you to join us there. Next topic on